stuff in the corner.
Stuffing in the corner with the hedgehog of truth, which we should deploy again.
I certainly think that we should deploy the hedgehog of truth. Right.
And it covers, there we have it. And he's already recording.
Naturally. Settled in.
I brought my own spoon today.
Well done, you. Oh, you're brave taking your coat off.
But it's not cold, is it?
It's bloody freezing. We need to sort out some better heating in this caravan. I'm frankly quite disappointed with you. Thank you very much.
So who else is joining us today then? You said I were going to come and have lunch with a celebrity.
How long have you been practicing that line? You're recording as well, are you?
Yeah, a bit.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm not going to steal all your bloody idea. I'll just have a couple of little bits. Where something actually happens, where something amusing happens, I shall stop.
Right. Well, I admire your optimism that something amusing might happen.
And you know it will.
Now, let's have a little investigation. That is mine. I thought that it was. I
You
think
can see that.
that is yours.
Oh, my arms aren't long enough otherwise.
I think that this...
That is quite odd actually, because you do, if I'm honest, remind me ever so slightly of Mr. Tickle. I wasn't expecting that. Chips! Oh, thank you, Boaty. Oh, what the fuck? There's a fish in there as well.
Oh, so it's swap.
Ah, right.
Oh, my sausage is broken.
Look, there's a bit of fish on the floor.
What a savage blow. A broken sausage, no less.
Well, a broken sausage. One could never imagine such a terrible thing. So, lunch, the second celebrity lunch video, and this time with Mark on Cars, also known as Mark and Mr. Tickler.
Didn't even get channel name.
You
right.
didn't even get the channel name right. I mean, this is just... this is just
It's because I was thinking of
This
JM on
is
Cars.
hideously embarrassing. So, let's try this. You be quiet for a minute. And hello, my lovelies.
Hello, my lovelies.
A very warm welcome to this latest edition of Mustard and Boaty Do Lunch with. And today, Mustard and Bunshot... Tricky chaps words.
You can't even say your own name. Mustard and lung shot.
You give it posh names and all this lunch business when it's clearly dinner time.
Dinner time.
We're going to come on to the Northern Divide. Today we are doing lunch with Mark of the Mark on Motoring channel. And I'm very excited to do this one because there is a strong argument for saying that Mark on Motoring is the YouTuber's YouTuber. Well, we'll get on to exactly why as we go on through lunch. But welcome, Mark. Thank you very much for joining us. And I apologise that the caravan is so cold because our heating system has
Failed.
completely failed. Complete failure.
Not that cold really though, is it?
No.
Yes, it's bloody freezing. I mean, you can actually see our breath.
You can see Chippy breath.
Excellent.
Both Mark and I have managed to take our coats off because we weren't that cold.
Yeah, well, okay, let's address the elephant in the room at the beginning and get this out of the way. Now, Mark has already alluded to this by saying that we are having dinner when, I mean, in the interest of, it is exactly 2 o'clock. So we are very clearly not having dinner, we are having lunch. But what we've got going on here is Mustard trying to put the lights on. Oh, well done, he's managed it.
That was only one lamp. It's that one. Just that one.
So what we've got going on here is a north-south divide. And you are going to see some differences as we work through lunch.
Yeah.
So these two hardy northerners are not wearing a coat. I am. These two northerners are eating their food from the greaseproof paper because they can't find a greaseproof whippet, which is what they would normally use to espouse their luncheon. Whereas I have correctly deployed crockery and cutlery because
Are you?
Where I come from.
You're not a northerner, but you are a Welsher.
yeah,
What do you call scraps in Wales?
Fights.
I don't know if we have a particular name for them.
It's like, where I come, we call them scraps.
Yeah,
But a friend I know from Dewsbury calls them bits.
but a bit.
Oh, that.
I used to have a friend in Dewsbury. I used to be there quite often.
I thought you meant like having a fight.
Oh, right.
Right, well. No, on the subject of fighting,
We missed an opportunity with Barney the Streetwise there.
what opportunity was that?
Well, we could have pretended it was having a fight and stood around and go, Barney, Barney. Do you remember that from school?
No.
No.
But thanks for asking. So, when did you, Mark on motoring, when did you last have and fight?
Pre-pandemic.
Relatively recently then.
No,
But
pre, not
when you-
post.
When you say a fight, though, it was all organised. It was very
Oh,
official and gentlemanly, sporting.
Right.
It weren't right back at local pub on a Friday night.
that's where they normally organise them. What kind of, who won? Before we go any further.
Well, it was a series of fights. I think I won some and lost some.
Is it on a game?
No.
Right.
You didn't read the research, did you? I sent you the research and you clearly didn't read it, did you?
No, of course I didn't. Do you think I've got nothing better to do than drop shivs on your foot?
What, than to actually do some research into...
With Mark, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh no, I read that. That's how I know that Mark is an HGV driver.
Okay. And what sort of fighting does he do?
I don't read about fights. I just
Not
didn't-
really any anymore.
I got chicken.
Well done, you. So, did you read the bit about Mark before he began his career as an HGV driver, being a professional chef?
He was a postman, wasn't you? Go on, sausage muncher, spit it out.
What's your favourite postman-related
Joke.
media? Film, TV or anything?
Post office tower.
What's that?
You don't know what post office tower is?
Yeah.
Do you know what post office tower is, Mark? Honestly, the post office tower in London.
I know Jimmy Savile held the record for running up it.
You know he held a record for running up it, but you don't really know whether it even exists.
Well, I specifically asked about TV and film media, so I don't know how you're referring to it in relation to that.
Because I answer your questions in my own way. It's the only way not to get bored.
So basically I should just ignore you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is your favourite chip on that plate?
Mark. If you were going to have something playing in the background, whilst you and your wife were having a moment of intimacy.
Oh, here he goes.
Would you rather have Postman Pat or Ivor the Engine?
Well, I don't think I could possibly concentrate with either, to be honest.
Do you not?
No.
What do you mean? Because it distracts you.
And everyone knows that the music of choice would have to be Glenn Medeiros, or Peter Cetera, or something, well, something by Air Supply, surely.
He's just said 3 names, none of which I know.
That's because there are other things going on outside of Boaty's world.
And?
You need to learn that.
Okay. So,
You've never heard of Air Supply?
no.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm aware of it as a concept, keeping us alive.
How did we get from fighting to post officers to Ivor the Engine?
Oh, hang on.
I had a very lengthy session to over the engine. The entire first series.
But try and change the subject, otherwise I'll tell you all about it.
So, what was the first? How did Mark here first cross your radar? Either in terms of meeting him in real life or stumbling across one of his videos on the interweb. And the same question to you: how did Mustard first cross your radar, or had you never heard of him before today?
No, I'd heard of him. I think because I was probably Googling something on rovers, and the internet and its infinite wisdom threw up one of Mustard's videos.
That must have been a while back as well.
I don't think you were aware of me until you met me in person. Or as you put it at the time, is that guy with that camera, but I don't know who he is.
Yeah. Is that exactly what I said?
Is that true? Is that what happened? Ah.
Was that in your video?
No, it was on yours.
Right.
Where was that?
I think you'd been to Motorist and you were
It was
driving
the
home.
Motorist, yeah.
You were driving home and you were mentioning all the people that you'd met, of whom most you didn't know.
Yeah. Well, it was the furious driving thing.
Oh, that was where I first met you.
No,
That was in
it was a previous
same
one.
event,
Oh,
a different year.
Yeah,
oh.
the year before, in fact.
And incidentally, you didn't know me either.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
You can't know everybody.
Well, I don't know anybody because I don't go to the shows.
And you're not welcome at them because of what you say about them.
But, well, it's going to be different now. I'm doing one of my own.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
I am.
I don't believe you.
The merch has actually arrived now.
So you've got ideas above your station, haven't you?
Have I?
Probably.
Why?
What station are you stopping at?
Mornington Crescent.
Yeah, see, that one's closed.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it has.
It
You're going
hasn't.
to go on to the next station. And you don't even know what that one's called.
This is absolute rubbish. You're ruining this video.
Good.
You turn up here with your homemade biryani. You've done zero research.
So what you got on your chips then, Bowie?
Curry sauce, English.
Well, at least it's not peas. I can't stand peas.
That's not curry.
This is traditional curry sauce from a traditional fish and chip shop. I've got no time for these modern fish and chip shops that bugger about with things that they've got no business buggering about with. Which is your favourite of Mark's videos?
I think probably the one with your car in it.
Yeah, that's mine as well. Although it wasn't my car when you did it, was it?
No, it was still Joseph's.
Well, that's not what I liked it best.
Unbeknown to me, we didn't know that then. It wouldn't be for much longer.
Yeah. And probably if you did know that, you might not have done it.
Well, I don't know. Someone offered me a car I'd not done before, so And quite a rare specification as well.
What was your very first YouTube video and why did you make it?
Okay, so my first one, which is still there to view, was a very poor quality video shot on a mobile phone of me in my kitchen trying to string words together, talking about the car that I'd acquired.
Oh, okay.
Which was the early focus of the channel.
Ah, so it was a Focus.
No, I doubt it.
No, the focus of the channel. The car wasn't a focus.
So it wasn't like the focus of the channel then?
It wasn't the focus of a Focus.
Right, what car was it?
The Megane Coupe. The Mark 1 Megane Coupe.
So it was more the Megane of the channel?
Yeah.
Right. And did you start the YouTube channel because of the car? Or did you get the car because you wanted to start a YouTube channel? Or what was your motivation behind beginning your YouTube journey?
Well, I've thought about YouTube for a while because I've watched so much of it, and I thought I could give this a go. But I didn't really know what I wanted to have a go with. And then I was sat watching a lot of videos on cars and thinking, I'm missing out here. I could do with an interesting car that I can enjoy. Maybe something that I missed out on in the past. And then after I got my car, I realised there weren't many videos on that car, certainly not in English anyway. So I just thought, oh, I'll have a bash at it, see where it takes me.
The Renault Megane, not being favoured by British YouTube people then.
No.
But then, if you go onto YouTube and you look at just British car reviews or car reviewers, British channels, they don't exactly bang on about British cars very often, do they not?
So which YouTube channel do you remember looking at and thinking, well,
I could do better than that.
yeah, you've got some degree of success, but I don't know how, because, basically the content that you're putting up is very much substandard, and I could improve on that massively.
I don't think at the time I really felt...
He missed the fighting cue there. You're supposed to clock him. Boaty gets a black eye every week. That should be the aim.
Yeah. I think it would take a dim view to me using my fighting skills in anger, other than in self-defence.
Well, I mean, we should add that Mark is actually a martial artist.
That was it, I did read that actually.
Once upon a time.
Part of that involves using your powers only for
good.
Self-defence?
Yeah.
Yes, for good. To fight against evil.
That would be good though, wouldn't it?
What? Battle against
do you
desperate
sense
odds.
an evil presence in the room?
Maybe after that curry.
No, you didn't even have to fart.
Yeah, I've studied Guadaroo karate for a few years. Something I'd wanted to do as a child and didn't, and I got the opportunity. So I went along, but I was quite fortunate that the group...
How old were you when you started doing that?
Late 30s.
Oh God, so, right. Oh, not a childhood thing then?
No. Yeah, I spent about...
What led you to do that in your late 30s?
I had a friend who did jiu-jitsu, but the club he went to was a day I couldn't attend. So he said, oh, I've got a friend who's just opening up a karate club. It just so happened to be a night I could attend.
So it's not because you were being bullied at the local bingo club?
No. The chaps who were running the karate club were also jiu-jitsu black belts. So I thought it was a good opportunity to learn a bit of both. But I did karate for about 5 years, but I didn't grade every time, so I didn't actually grade as far as a black belt in karate. But I did learn all the techniques that a black belt would. I couldn't remember all the katas, which is why I didn't grade.
Can I just apologise for Captain Mustard? Again, that's a northern thing. He wasn't taught that it's polite when you leave a table to say, excuse me, or pardon me, or put your hand up, please may I leave the table, so...
I didn't want to interrupt.
Very thoughtful.
Yeah, so but I did fight in some tournaments, and in my own arrogance, I often entered in weight classes above my own, because in life it isn't always a fair fight.
True.
So obviously, in my rotten luck, I drew a 6'4" jiu-jitsu black belt, and the result was pretty inevitable. But the next time I fought him, I actually survived a bit longer.
So you just keep on going back until eventually you can.
Yeah, you go and get beat up every week, and but that's how you learn. You don't lose the same way twice. You learn from your errors and lose a different way the following week, and eventually you start to draw even, and sometimes you might even win. What I did grade up in though was weapons. I did get my first down black belt in Koga Jitsu, which is mixed weapons.
So,
Well,
would you be confident taking on the beige bomber?
I don't know about that. I mean, appearances can be very deceptive, and some of the most deadly people I've ever met look sort of quite frail and well, the last people you would expect to be deadly.
that's true, because those that know they can't win a fight want to look like they're not to be messed with, so as not to get in one in the first place. So it does make me wonder about you, actually. I mean, you don't fight, but you're controversial. You're difficult. You're tall, but you're weak.
Anything else you want to throw at me?
Well, I mean, you're rarely complimentary, but you are a bit of a gobshite.
It's very complimentary about my channel though.
Oh, I know that. It's because you sat here.
No, he's talking about in the past. I should explain, and also, well, hang on.
Well,
Just to go back to your rant,
that wasn't a rant.
I'm just an older version of the person that I used to be, and I used to fight.
Yeah?
So now I've got the same personality that invites a fight. I'm just too old and weak to carry it through.
Right.
I'd fight you.
Are we talking a street fight or organised?
Oh no, street fight.
See, a street fight is very different, because in a
There are no
tournament
rules.
there's rules, but in a street fight anything goes.
Yeah. So that includes bottles, sticks, biting ears off. Imagine that. If we thought Boaty and I are going to decide not to be friends any longer, let's go with a bang. And one of us ends up with an ear missing.
Right. To explain my comment earlier about the YouTuber, I have been very complimentary about Mark's channel in the past, continually, because it was a channel that, oh, and I don't mean this to sound offensive, but I thought it underperformed. I thought it deserved better.
Speak to your own audience, mate.
I thought it deserved. I thought you wanted me to sit on your lap.
No.
That's what we normally do.
Yeah, well, no more. No more.
In fairness, it's my belief in being a lifelong underachiever that has actually driven me to do things that otherwise I probably wouldn't have done.
Do you consider yourself to be a lifelong underachiever? Seriously?
Maybe in a sense, yeah. I mean, but as I say, if you channel that in a good way.
Well, when you were a kid, what were your achievement dreams?
Oh gosh. I don't know, I mean,
And how was your childhood? You were brought up in Yorkshire?
yeah. I mean, we did okay. We weren't a wealthy family. I mean, I sort of upper working / middle class grandparents on one side of the family. See, they owned a number of Rovers, don't you know?
Oh.
And then the other side of the family was probably more working class. Actually, on my dad's side of the family, they're from Cumbria originally.
What did your dad do?
He was postman, 26
Okay.
years.
Okay.
So,
Did your mum work?
she worked part time, although she was at one point made redundant for a few years. And I was saying to Mustard earlier, I remember my dad had bought a car and he was working extra shifts and doing a football pulls round on a night and all sorts, and in the end just sold the car.
Doing that extra work just to keep a car.
Yeah, we actually ended up, we had a few years where we didn't even own a car. But
Did you have brothers and sisters?
no,
Just you?
just me.
Ah.
I think sometimes the hardships, so we look back sort of fondly now. Every driveway has a Range Rover or an Audi on lease.
Mine doesn't.
But back in the day,
You haven't got a driveway.
That's why.
back in those days, we didn't have as much, and if your car had panels that was all the same colour, you were doing quite well. But I remember hiring Mark 3 Fiestas,
Were you in a council house or a private
No,
house?
we were a private house. My parents bought their own house, but it had been converted into flats, so it was pretty much derelict. So they bought the cheapest house they could find, which with interest rates as they were then were probably crippling. And we just made do, and I remember going to MFI and getting the seconds from the kitchen department to make up a kitchen for the house and things like that. And obviously as time went on, things got a bit better, and you get your head down and work hard. And
See, you two were in a class above me in terms of childhood. Because you had quite a
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
posh upbringing, whereas I was dragged up from the lowest form of council estate.
I didn't have a posh upbringing.
fairness, I was near to quite a notorious council estate, but we did have an inside toilet.
Did you have an inside toilet?
After a while, yeah.
Right.
Not to begin with.
What, when you thought, sod this, it's too cold outside, I'm pissing in the kitchen sink.
I think sometimes we have those fondest memories from times like this, with hardship. And I mean,
I found that too. It's like when you have a power cut. And if you're a positive person, you can enjoy a power cut. If you're not, then you just curse everything.
We're doing our house, they start screaming because Wi-Fi's gone off.
Ah. That makes a change though, doesn't it? Yeah, there's different
21st
experience.
century problems. We used to hire like a Ford Fiesta, and we'd do a car boot sale on the Sunday to pay for the money to hire the car, so that we could then have a trip to Seaside. And we'd go to Seaside and we'd get a bag of chips and a can of pop to share between three of us.
You told me this before, but I did wonder,
It was great.
why would you hire a car? I mean, surely it would have been cheaper to just have an old car.
I don't know, I mean,
Or go on the train.
you often say in those days, my dad always did like driving. So, most of the time he did own a car, and he always enjoyed that freedom of having a car.
Did your mum drive?
No.
Is that through choice or?
Yeah.
Maybe it's about the time. I remember somebody giving this phrase to me once, which was, if you can't afford a new car, you can't afford a car.
Right.
Meaning that, if you can't afford a car, then you can't afford the repairs on an old car. But from my experience, I've never found that to be the case at all. I found it to be the opposite. Maybe it's just down to choice, making the right choices.
An old car might cost you 500 quid a year in repairs, or a new car will probably cost you that a few months in repayments. Or they will these days anyway.
The biggest cost in a new car is depreciation.
Well,
So what were you like at school? Academic or
Not really.
what was your best subject?
I quite like sort of anything like art and...
I thought you were going to say
and
geography.
Geography, science. I hated maths. Teachers used to always say I was intelligent, but yet I was never particularly outstanding in things like maths. But they did always say that I sort of held my own and excelled in things that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
So were your school reports generally positive?
Mixed. I'd get a bad one, but then I'd get made to see the error of my ways, and then I would get the next year's report will be better.
Well, I wouldn't imagine you as being one of these kids that were slinging blackboard rubbers around and stuff like that and wagging off.
Tea stone cold now.
Is that your way of avoiding the question?
Sorry, I lost concentration because of the cold tea.
Yeah, because you took too long to drink it.
Yeah.
You had one chance to drink a hot cup of tea in a cold caravan. and you've missed it.
So what was the question again?
Don't know, I've forgotten.
What happened when you were 16? Did you stay on at school or leave?
I went to college.
Okay.
Did a year's engineering NVQ,
Okay.
which was a bit of a shambles of a course anyway. And at the end of it, I needed an apprenticeship, and all the biggest places locally ended up shutting down, so there were no apprenticeships to go. It's a shame because I'd done work experience at the local power station and got a glowing report, and had things been different,
Glowing report. Yeah.
I might have had an opportunity. Well, I showed up and showed an interest.
Right.
You know, I wasn't afraid to get stuck in and get my hands dirty. So
Reminds me of my wedding. In many ways.
what, you turned up and showed an interest.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So what was your first job?
That wasn't your wedding, though. That was somebody else's.
It was mine.
Go on, what was your first job?
That's the first
At
job.
least I wasn't wearing a pinstripe suit.
Are you going to try and turn that into a thing?
Who gets married in a pinstripe suit?
I did.
Apart from
Have you
Peter
still got the
Bowles.
suit?
Well, I aspire to be Peter Bowles.
Why did you have a pinstripe suit in the first place?
I needed a suit, and I looked and I saw that, and I thought that'll do.
I feel like we need to see this suit.
Was it on offer? Where did you buy it from?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Did you buy it off the peg or was it tailor made?
Yeah, like it was off the peg, and it just fit.
Did
Okay.
you buy it for the wedding, or
Yeah.
did you buy it? You bought it for the wedding. You went out and thought, "I'm getting married. I'll buy a pinstripe suit."
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What did
Still
you
got the suit? Does it double up for funerals and things? And,
Oh, but I don't know about funerals. That would look a bit wrong, wouldn't it?
oh, I know, but it's
Like you turn up in your pinstripe suit at a funeral and your business card.
well, a good suit should last you a lifetime, shouldn't it?
It should do, but obviously
fool on his money is easily parted.
I was a bit younger than I am now.
By which you mean thinner.
Yeah, that's right.
You're an aspiring YouTuber. If you went to a funeral of somebody that was not a family member, not a massively close friend, but a reasonably close acquaintance,
Yeah.
would you see it as an opportunity and would you spread your business cards around in the car park and
Absolutely not.
underneath the windscreen wipers?
No, I mean we're British, aren't we? There's some things that are not done. When I go to a funeral, I get out my shoes. I make sure they're properly bulled.
Properly what?
Bulled.
Bulled.
Yes.
Shiny.
Properly polished.
Right.
Oh, polished.
Mm.
Okay.
You know the old spit and polish?
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's the way I were taught to do it. The old kiwi and saliva.
Right.
And that's how you get the glass-like
Will any
finish.
will any kiwi do or
No,
Yeah,
no.
you
and
can-
what is
well,
it
they used to
about
do parade gloss, but yeah,
what
generally
is it
kiwi.
about a kiwi saliva that's so special? How does it differ from?
Well, because they're not that.
I'm trying
keen
to think of a kiwi. Should we have a kiwi off?
If you try and use camel spit, it's got the wrong pH level and it can eat into your leather.
And who
Yeah,
wants
but
to
you
call
could
it camel spit?
You could have the shoe further away because camels can spit for miles.
Yeah, they can. And if
Have you ever seen a camel in real life?
Well, these two are talking bollocks.
Yeah. Go on.
Funerals, they should be correctly attired. So that means you have to have a proper suit, you have to have polished shoes, and your tie it has to be at least a half Windsor, if not a full Windsor knot.
I'd agree with that. And it shut him up, which is interesting.
You have to have your jacket. If you haven't got a jacket, then you're not properly dressed. You're not attired correctly.
No.
Have you been to a funeral?
Yeah, I know you asked next.
What did you wear?
I wore a black suit and a white shirt and a black tie.
That you don't own, none of which you actually own.
No, I did own it.
When was this?
Oh,
Before you got married?
a long time before that, yeah.
Okay.
If you outlive all your friends, you'll get that. It'll be a good investment.
Well, I've not known anyone die recently, not anyone that would actually go to their funeral, so
So what happened to that suit?
I'd probably end up on fire or something. That would have been an off-the-peg suit, okay? Probably from Tesco or somewhere like that. You just buy it, you bung it on, and then you fling it to the side afterwards, and it's not needed for another 10 years, and it's, in the meantime, you just think, I don't really need that, and you chuck it away. You wouldn't do that if you actually spent a lot of money on
You're
it.
not
Obviously.
a proper northerner, obviously. I've still got the suit I was wearing when I met my wife.
Yeah, I'm not a proper northerner.
It wouldn't. There's not a else chance it'll ever fit me again. But I'll certainly not waste it throwing away a good suit.
What were the circumstances under which you met your good lady?
The circumstances.
Yeah.
The circumstances was I met her in the same way a lot of people meet their other halves. I was out on a Saturday night in a pub where she just so happened to be, which is strange, really, because neither of us really go out to pubs.
Right.
So, and contrary to popular
That one
belief,
opportunity.
and I actually met her here. Contrary to popular belief, I didn't order her in.
Ah,
She was already here in the UK.
Is that a popular belief?
Well, it certainly was when I met her.
Ah,
right, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're setting the record straight that you didn't pay for her to come over to
Absolutely.
this country.
So where is your wife from? I mean, I know, but they don't.
Philippines.
Right.
So yeah, she's been here 20 odd years now. Came over when the NHS were recruiting, and came here intending to stop a few years, and met me, and then for some strange reason decided to stay.
Who made the first move?
Me.
What was your line?
I honestly can't remember.
If you remembered that, then it would have been one he practiced, and it wouldn't be natural, would it?
Okay, well,
Everyone else, of course, were in jeans and t-shirts, and I were there in my suit as well. So I suppose I had a bit of extra confidence that I was better dressed than everybody else.
okay, well,
Good point.
let's give you a chance to do things on the spur of the moment, and let's recreate it. Mustard, you be the wife in the pub, and
She hasn't got a beard, your wife, has she not?
No, I'm not seeing it.
was she working in the pub or
No,
just
she was
socialising?
just out with a friend, just on a whim. They decided
Out
to
with
go
a friend.
out. And,
And you were you with your friends?
yeah,
or?
I was out with friends.
Okay.
We just sort of called in on the off chance, and
Okay, so Mustard and I will be. Mustard will be your wife.
Right.
I'll be the friend that she was out with. What's my name?
No, you're not my friend. You can be
We're
someone-
only pretending.
it was dark in this pub, but it wasn't that dark.
So we're just. Am I Filipino?
These events are 20 odd years ago. You do know.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know really what his origins are, really.
Yeah.
Just a little.
So basically, went into a pub with a couple of friends.
Hang on, we're going to recreate it now.
I don't think we can. But incidentally,
we can
one
go
of the friends I was out with ended up marrying my wife's friend, who was out with her as well.
Ah.
Oh, that was a successful evening then.
Yeah,
Who got married first? You or the friend?
me.
Oh, well done. How long after you met did you get married?
Couple of years. We met in 2001. Bought a house in 2003. Married the following year, and had his first child a year after that.
So you almost did it in the right order, but not quite. So, well, you did live in sin,
Ah, yes,
even though presumably you're fully aware that God doesn't really like that,
yes,
and that didn't concern you.
yes. But as a child born out of wedlock, I couldn't really see an issue with that.
I couldn't either.
Ah.
I just realised if I'm filming anything, the only person I can see is normally the man off camera, and that's you. Excuse me, 1 moment.
Oh, it's learning. So were your parents never married, or did
No,
they get married?
they did marry, but obviously after I was born.
Ah, okay.
I was quite looking forward to Mark's chat up line, if I'm honest.
I'm bitterly
I
disappointed.
don't know
that,
any.
Well, no, I don't mean you have to know anything.
No, I was going to enjoy that role playing.
It is possible to actually meet someone without using chat lines. You can just have a conversation. I know it doesn't come natural to most of us.
There's got to be an initiation there. There's got to be a first line, hasn't there? You've
Yeah,
got
but
to
I can't
say.
for life me remember what it was.
Just try another one on me now.
Can I have a go?
Actually, this would be good for a laugh, yeah.
Go on then. I think he's looking at me.
Hello.
Well,
He is,
he's
isn't he?
looking at you, he's not looking at me.
Yeah.
Have you got any Welsh in you?
No, and I don't want any here.
Actually, I know what he could do to chat you up. Actually, like, you used to do voiceovers, didn't you? So you've got quite a presence on. You mentioned once on a live that you did voiceover work.
Voiceover, no.
Oh right.
No,
Well,
I've never done voiceover.
well, anyway, you've got presence on
No,
camera.
he hasn't. But he should do. He'd be better off as voiceover work.
My kids.
I've done radio. I've done radio stuff. And
My
TV
kids had a
stuff.
request. They've been watching Home Alone over Christmas.
Okay.
And there's a scene in Home Alone 2 where Tim Curry is sort of forced into doing a "I love you." Look mustard in the eyes, and in fact, let's get the camera. So square into camera.
Oh, well,
let's have an "I love you." The lead camera. Pass the camera over here.
Oh, you wanted to? Yes. I wondered, Bradley, why you're not wanting to take control.
Use his camera. I don't move mine because my.
Well, mine is
spongy
focused on.
hands.
Anyway,
Give some love to your viewing audience. Look square in the camera, and in the style of Tim Curry, give us a nice big "I love you."
I don't know who Tim Curry is. Can I do it in the style of somebody else that I actually know?
Lisa Tarbuck.
I love Lisa Tarbuck. Okay, I can do that. Greetings, citizens of the planet Earth. I love you. I love Lisa Tarbuck.
Is that what she does?
It's the that's how she opens the show. Yeah. Hey there, hi there, ho there.
You just need your squeaky toy now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's the only thing on the radio that I listen to now. I used to listen to quite a few things on the radio, and then over the years they've all dropped off.
They all went shite, didn't they?
And the only thing that I watch now, that I listen to now, is Lisa Tarbuck.
I listen to radio quite a bit when I'm on the road, so.
Of course, yes. You must be missing Ken.
Well, are you a Radio 2 man, or?
Yeah, a lot of the time. Because it's one station you can kind of get when you cross county borders. You see, you don't have to
Don't go
go
off.
reach. Yeah. Plus, you get the travel as well. I actually met Bobby Pryor recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the NEC Classic Milk Show.
How about that?
Maybe you should get her to come to lunch.
Yeah. Good idea. She's got pink hair, hasn't she?
Yeah, I'm not saying she'll do it, but
She will.
Well, if she comes to lunch, you might as well while she's here.
you'll have to get caravan levelled up there, won't you, first?
Why?
Well, because I might slide off her.
It's that level of confidence that that is frightening.
You two are both married men, happily married men.
Yeah.
Not to each other.
Have either of you ever slid off your good lady? And if so, under what circumstances?
Well, when the caravan was at a proper angle. No, how do you slide off?
I don't know.
Unless you're on the bonnet of a car or something.
Well, what if you were all oiled up?
Why do you need to be oiled up?
Well, you might be doing a role play, and you might be role playing a tourist and a Japanese massage parlour operative doing one of those slippery new room massages.
Yeah, well that doesn't surprise.
Do you ever do role play with your missus?
No.
Do you?
No.
Ah.
Do you?
Well, I haven't got a missus
Yeah,
at the
but when you
moment.
did.
Oh God, yeah, of course.
I thought you would.
Yeah.
See, on my
Oil
channel,
as well,
I have
yeah.
to be all sensible, but here it's just anything goes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, is it a bit?
I couldn't possibly be this free and outspoken on my own channel.
Why not?
Well, don't worry.
Why
the
do you-
subscribers will
Just for
disappear once they see
standards to be
this.
maintained.
And are these self-imposed standards or
Yes.
standards that your viewers have imposed upon you? So who is your viewer then?
Right. Well, generally, I would say my channel demographic is predominantly male, age between sort of 40 and 60. But
Mine too.
But you do occasionally get.
And mine.
I have been at events and I've had children approach who have been out with the parents and happen to mention that they like watching as well. So I try to make the videos suitable.
Do
for
you
all
like
audiences.
being recognised?
It's happened a couple of times, and yeah, I don't mind it. It was a bit strange at first. I mean, when you're at an event and it happens, it's one thing, but I've actually been other places and it's happened.
Has it ever happened in Aldi?
Not in an Aldi, no. And then I
mentioned
rarely
that 'cause
go
he
to
wouldn't go in
Aldi.
Aldi.
We've got a Lidl in my town, so
Right.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah.
God, what a terrible thing.
Quality, not badges.
What?
Well, one car
What
you
have
don't
badges got to do with it?
you don't see BMWs parked in Lidl or Aldi too much.
Well, I don't know. I think
Well, that's because they're not allowed.
no, I think they're nearly always flash cars that are parked in
Well,
them places.
yeah,
That's
but-
how they afford lease. By
No, there are no cars in there at all. Not even in the middle of Lidl or whatever they call it. The cars are all in the car park. You're making a fundamental mistake there.
That is true, actually. Yeah.
Mm.
Now, I've noticed something about Mark that he doesn't swear, and that's because he can have a conversation without effing and jeffing.
Right.
Whereas you can't even open a car door without sort of screaming some profanity at somebody.
You haven't seen me
Usually
trying to cook.
I fucking resent that.
I do swear a lot. You just haven't seen me cook. If
Well-
I cook, then I'm like Gordon Ramsay, but without the skill of being able to cook.
Is that why you swear? Because you
Yeah.
think you should have the skill, but it's just not there.
What was the first
Frustration.
meal that you cooked for your wife?
I think I attempted a roast dinner. I would say it was possibly made up of frozen food, and it was undercooked when I finished. I probably undercooked and burnt all at the same time.
Well, that's by cooking it too much on the outside and not on the inside.
Yeah,
That's it. Basic cooking
I'm
skills.
actually quite good at it. This stems from me being on the road.
Noodles.
Tins of tomato soup. Quite good at tins of tomato soup.
Just warm them up. Or
And these days, well, it started off when I was tramping, when I was in the wagon all week. But these days, occasionally, I'm quite partial to a tin of soup on my hobo stove at the allotment.
so just soup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, soup and bread.
I used to have, in my singles network, when I used to do the Dish of the Day feature, and it was really popular, we had a guy who was tramping, and he used to genuinely turn out Michelin star food from the cab of his truck.
Yeah. I
It
don't know how he
was-
found the time.
It was amazing to watch. And he used to put up full videos of, if he ever did this on YouTube, he'd be a millionaire.
Yeah. See, I stick to simple things, partly because it's the only thing I know how to prepare. And generally, I'm just not that adventurous with food, which...
Is your wife a good cook?
Yeah, she can cook both Western and Southeast Asian dishes.
And what do your kids generally eat?
Italian. No, pretty much everything. They eat everything.
What about
They
language?
cost a fortune. I've said that I'm going to have to sell one of them because I don't think we can afford to keep them both.
Are they bilingual?
No. But they do say you'll try anything once.
Does he what?
No, we've just about mastered the English language. So, but my wife actually speaks English native tongue, which is Tagalog.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that's the native language of the Philippines.
Okay.
But she also speaks a regional dialect. But younger people tend to learn English as a second language. The older generation, Spanish, because they were colonised by Spanish at one point.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm.
That is interesting. So they've got a thing like, so it's a bit like Mandarin then.
No,
In that,
it uses our alphabet.
no, I don't mean that. I mean that it's similar to the Chinese language in that you've got a language that is supposedly throughout the country,
Yeah.
and then you've got
Regional
separate
dialects as
regional
well.
dialects.
And it's not just like us having different accents and certain words that are only used in certain regions. It is like an entirely different language almost.
It works exactly the same in China. So you've got Mandarin, which is in Mandarin Puhantua, and that literally means the common language. And then you've got different languages regionally. But what happens in reality is that the two blend together. So that in every region, Mandarin becomes regionalized as well.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know this is when I first learnt Mandarin, it was from my first Chinese fiance, who was from Beijing. And then my second Chinese fiance was from Shanghai, and she couldn't understand what I was saying when I was attempting to speak Mandarin.
How many Chinese have you proposed to?
He thinks they're going to say yes, so probably quite a few.
Only three.
Oh no! I've dropped my egg.
Only three.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's funny you say about that with the dialects and language because, as I say, Tagalog's the Filipino language, but it gets integrated with bits of English and becomes what they call Taglish.
okay.
So you'll overhear a conversation and there'll be a lot of Tagalog, and then there'll be words and phrases that are, or even almost short sentences that are entirely in English.
Right.
A bit like that. Remember the Harry Enfield sketch where they had a new signing for Newcastle United, and he was from the Cocoa League. And as each week as the episode went on, he went from being entirely in his native tongue to being broad Geordie.
I don't remember
So he'd
that.
be jabbering away, and then he'd be bend over, and then he move pet.
Okay, we've now come to the part of the video where we invite our guest to impersonate a well-known YouTuber, and we will try and guess who it is.
Gosh,
I didn't know this was a feature.
neither did I.
It's come as a complete surprise to me,
That's
but
fair because it means that we're just surprised about this as you are.
yeah, I'm really looking
So
forward to
you're
it.
no less prepared.
Yeah,
Huh?
I'm not very good at impressions though. That's the problem.
Well,
That's usually the best way.
yeah, do your best.
It's not easy on the spot, is it?
No.
No.
It's the best way.
Yeah. I'm just aware that it's probably going to sound nothing like the person.
But
it's
that's
supposed
all
to.
right, because you'll only fail in this way once. And then if we ask you to do it again,
You just
you'll,
won't be
you'll
able to
fail
Said
in it.
YouTuber may never speak to me again.
Well, if
Yeah,
you
but if
just,
nobody knows who it is, then that won't matter.
that's a good idea.
Because they might not know that it's them.
Go on then, I'll do one.
Go on then, you do one. Then.
Shall I do one first?
Go on then.
I haven't thought of one just yet. You do one first.
No, you.
I was just trying to be agreeable.
Okay, well, oh well. When in doubt, fall back on a safe old number.
Hope not.
Good afternoon.
If do it one I were going to do.
Yeah, well, you snooze, you lose.
Well, you could do it as well.
I bet you'd like this caravan with its beige leather interior.
I don't think it's quite beige enough, is it?
No, insufficiently beige for the beige bomber, I would say. Go on, do yours then.
All right. Well, I've just had myself a curry, and I've had some chips as well. And just in case I was hungry, I thought I'd bring along a couple of eggs. But so far, I've not needed to eat them.
Are you doing yourself?
No.
I thought you were doing yourself. I've got no idea who else that could be.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you find when you watch YouTube, other YouTubers, you sometimes
Switch off.
accidentally find that when you're doing a similar video, you're almost mimicking them without...
Yeah, absolutely.
Prime example, I did one of the car reviews I filmed because I was struggling to remember all the information, and I ended up sort of talking in segments. And when I listened back to myself, I thought, I sound like JM.
Right.
Where you kind of get these bits. I thought, you sound... I've watched so many of his videos, I thought I'm actually starting to sound like him because I've watched.
Well, I suppose if anybody was to say to you, are you trying to copy JM? Then you'll have a kind of guilty, no, I'm not trying to copy him.
Possibly.
But you are really.
So anyway, China.
Yes,
Trust you've
in your hand.
You've been to China a few times, I'm guessing.
No.
No, never.
No. No.
I find travel places like that can be quite interesting. I've been about 4 times now to the Philippines.
Right.
So, and obviously I've seen it over 20 years become more and more westernised. The rate at which it's developed, every time you go back, the concrete seems to go a bit further than it did the previous visit.
Okay.
But obviously, because I'm not adventurous with food, it's always quite a trial. And the first time I went, I didn't really know what to expect. So, obviously, I packed accordingly. And when I was at the airport in Manila, my case went through the scanner.
And it was full of baked beans and free and Bentos pies.
Well, not quite. But let's just say when it went through the X-ray machine, you could clearly see the chip pan.
A chip pan?
Actually,
pan.
you didn't really take a chip pan.
Oh, I did, but the chip pan wasn't what was worrying me. I was more worried what they'd make of the numerous boxes of powdered Yorkshire pudding mix.
Oh.
You just imagine, step aside, sir.
Do you know what? I'm starting to go off you. Yorkshire pudding mix.
Oh, that'll offend him.
Yorkshire pudding mix in
You're
powder
a
form.
hot pot man.
Oh. I'm sure. Right. Well.
For the record, I do prefer proper ones, proper Yorkshire puddings. But you know, when needs must.
Yeah. I don't think they could ever need that much.
Yeah, I didn't think my frozen ones would survive the flight.
Have you ever referred to your wife's breasts as Yorkshire puddings?
No, I don't think she'd take kindly to that.
Yeah, and they're not from Yorkshire anyway. Yorkshire puddings are normally like Yorkshire.
Yeah, but if they were, but they live in Yorkshire now, don't they?
Right.
So if you accepted that they were puddings, then by definition they would now be Yorkshire puddings, wouldn't they?
No.
Well, if they're in Yorkshire. Sorry, just my opinion.
This is why I wanted you to chat me up.
What,
get away from that creep over there. Do you know what it's like? He's been chatting me up for 2 years now, and I'm starting to think he wants something.
I'd love
He wants
to
your
lick,
puddings.
I'd love to lick the gravy off your Yorkshire puddings.
Go on then.
So this is why you've got me as a guest and not Harry Metcalf.
Well,
I'm going to ask Heidi. I'm genuinely going to. No, of course I haven't. I'm going to though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched his video last night and I really enjoyed it. His new one when he took the new Defender 130
Have you watched his farming videos?
on a road trip. I watched one for the first time yesterday.
I like the approach to his farm videos, same as with his car ones, because he gives a really open. He talks a lot about the political side of farming, you know, the stewardship schemes and.
Yeah, he was on about that.
Yeah, and when he's talked about solar, putting solar on farm, and he goes into things in a lot of things you wouldn't necessarily expect. You just expect, he's going to be ploughing fields, but there's a lot more to it.
Who would you rather have lunch with, Harry Metcalf or Jeremy Clarkson?
Oh, that is a tough one. Obviously, I've been watching Clarkson since the 90s. I don't know. Possibly Harry Metcalf. He's an interesting chap, actually. Obviously, he started Evo magazine.
Yeah.
And a lot of...
He keeps mentioning that. I don't know what it is, but...
Yeah, a lot of... well, the way the story goes, he had the particular Maserati, and at the time, you've been obviously dealing in high-end cars in your past. You'll probably know more than me. I don't believe Maserati had a sort of media outlet back in the day, or didn't have the ties in the UK that they do now. Yeah. And he had a particular car that the press couldn't get, and he took one along to a magazine shoot, performance car magazine, and he found out that the magazine was ceasing circulation, and him and someone else there started Evo. I think he was the money behind it.
Yeah, he sold up everything, didn't he? He took a big gamble, I believe.
Oh, he took a huge gamble, yeah.
I love that. You know, the most interesting stories about successful people are when they took a massive gamble and it could have ended up with them on the streets instead.
Yeah, he spent something like 40 grand on computers back in 1990s or something, just to start this magazine, which was one of the most high risk ventures at the time, printed media. And but people like Chris Harris, a lot of them actually came through the ranks at Evo magazine.
Yeah. Who's Chris Harris?
He's well on Failed Top Gear. He was one of the presenters.
Okay.
Actually, the only one that really had a background in cars.
The only one that was actually, well, I wouldn't say likeable, but the best character in Top Gear since it became Failed Top Gear rather than Top Gear. I would say it is the best one.
I like them all in different ways. I mean, I thought Flintoff were good because he's got that competitiveness in him, hasn't he? And
Flintoff's alright.
Outgoing and
but what I never liked was the other bloke.
Paddy McGuinness. I like Paddy McGuinness. He's funny as a comedian, but obviously he's how well suited he is to. I don't know if he's any sort of other background in cars. I mean, I know that story, weren't they? He crashed that Lamborghini, didn't he? On one of the shoots.
Oh right, I see. Well, to me, he just didn't come across as a naturally funny man. He's a comedian by trade, or by whatever it is you want to call it, but he didn't seem to be an actually funny person.
The thing is, when old Top Gear, not old Top Gear, but Top Gear in the later format, but with Clarkson and May and Hammond, was funny. But they weren't comedians; they were just three guys larking about, pretty much like you two. But they had rapport, and it sort of worked. It weren't forced.
Now, whereas Paddy McGuinness and Flintoff seemed a bit kind of desperately trying to be amusing together in this kind of thing. It was just lads down the pub.
It were big shoes to follow, though, weren't it? Big footsteps to follow in.
Yeah, absolutely. Although they were directly following people that did an even worse job of it than what they did.
I feel we should hoik this back to YouTube.
Do we?
I'm not sure that
Do you realise this video's an hour long? Is that enough?
No, we'll keep going.
You must be getting tired by now.
Oh, okay.
Tired or bored? You choose.
No, well, obviously I'm thinking about my other commitments, but I'm probably good for another half hour.
I just wanted to finish off what I was saying about the YouTubers YouTube. I've been trying to say it for over an hour now, and I keep getting mislaid. But the point is that of all of the YouTubers that I know, with the exception of the real high flyers, Mark makes more professional videos than anybody else I know. Now, the first time I met him, I had no idea who he was. Forgive me, I hadn't seen any of your videos, but I just saw a guy filming and recording and doing so very professionally. And I think I felt a bit like a fish out of water at that place. And I think I just said some flippant remark about, oh God, look, here's a professional doing it.
Is that the motorist?
Yeah. So that's why I've always been complimentary about Mark's channel, because his videos are incredibly well researched, well presented, and very, very well produced.
Like the opposite of yours.
Entirely the opposite of mine, yeah. Yeah, that, absolutely fair
And
comment there.
And you had the cheek to do a stats off with him.
Yeah, but we've got very... Right, this is interesting actually, and I was very keen to get Mark on, because as I say, Mark's channel was monetised very recently, November. So Mark is in a great place to talk in a way that might be of interest to other people with aspiring channels who are, you know, aiming towards monetisation or have just achieved it, anything around there. And it's interesting how people go about things. Mark and I are diametric opposites. He's gone out for quality. He's set standards for his channel for every individual video, and he will go to painstaking lengths to make sure that the videos are up to the standard that he has set himself. Whereas I've gone for quantity over quality, and my channel is based on the idea that if you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it will stick.
Yeah. You've been saying that for a while, actually, haven't you?
Yeah, and it's true.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah. But basically what you get is people that like shit.
I think the more videos, the more chance of picking up views, the more chance of someone discovering you. The problem I have is that I'll do an event and there'll be 10 videos go out before mine. So people will watch a few of those videos, but nobody wants to see the same video 10 times. So by the time my video comes out...
So it doesn't matter that your video is better made or better produced.
Oh no.
You're covering the same subject matter, and they'll have already seen other videos with that subject matter.
If I was in this for the money, it'd be a catastrophic failure. It's purely for the love of doing it, to try and... The aim was always to... I started this because I was watching other people's videos, and it sort of got me thinking. And there was some that I really enjoyed, and I thought, you know what, I don't mind having a bash at this, but I want to make something that people are going to enjoy watching. Okay,
so before you started your own, whose were the videos that you really enjoyed?
Well, Harry's Garage.
Yeah, right.
On not so much the modern high-end cars, but some of the older stuff he does. And again, the sort of...
They're the ones that I love as well.
The quality. I like the quality stuff.
First one of his I saw was his one on the Diablo.
Yeah, and Tyrrell's Classic Workshop, which I discovered through Harry's Garage. Okay. And I remember we were doing a video on a Rover SD1, a V8 Vitesse, and at the time I was thinking, oh, I remember SD1s, you couldn't give them away. and it got me thinking. And then I quickly realised I couldn't afford an SD one because now they've gained popularity again. But it really made me think. I thought, well, what if I could produce some quality videos of cars that people like you and I could actually aspire to possibly own?
Ah, okay.
And to be honest, the first videos I did were on a mobile phone. The quality is not great. As I say, the videos are still up to watch, so sort of for prosperity. So anyone who's thinking of YouTube and you maybe think you haven't got the charisma to do it, just watch one of my really early videos and see. Really, with YouTube, you've got to be prepared to just get stuck in and make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, even have the mistakes as part of your character.
Yeah. Don't worry about looking silly. I mean, I come on camera every week and look silly. And some people seem to enjoy it. And possibly even for the right reasons.
Well, what would be the incorrect reason for watching someone make a fool of themselves?
Well, I suppose to mercilessly mock them. But you know, some people do seem to enjoy the content. But I quickly realised that, certainly with like the shows, I thought I can't do the same video as everyone else. I've got to do something different. And this is where my channel stood out. I got a format with the interviews, with the cinematic shots of the cars as well, and sort of put all that together. It's why the videos can take me up to a week to produce after an event, but the people who have seen them and who like them will actually wait for them. It just means that my channel grows a lot slower than some other channels. And I have had people come up and say, I watch your videos, love the quality of the videos, how come you're not bigger? And then they'll make comparisons to some very well-known established channels. But the difference is, as much as I would like to, it'd be nice to earn back a bit of money from this, the priority for me is making good quality videos. When you've given up your day job and you're just doing YouTube and you've got to make money off that, you don't have that luxury. It's like you've got to put a video out because you've got to keep the content going. You're on that hamster wheel. And you've got to keep the content coming, you know, every couple of days or whatever to keep getting the hits.
We know all about that, don't we?
It's a trap I don't want to have to fall into. I would rather just build it slowly, and if success comes from it, then it comes.
Well, you're saying about going slowly to some more secure routes as you do it, which you carry on going. Eventually, you'll still get to the top of the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, it's been
won't fall off.
Beneficial, obviously, the complimentary things you've said about the channel. I mean, after we met, and you obviously went away and had a look at my stuff.
I did.
And then you went on one of your lives and obviously sung the channel's praises and to tens of people who... some of them then did actually look at my stuff, and, you know, a few of them have...
I was just genuinely impressed by it,
Yeah.
and I still am.
Yeah.
I am a fan.
And Mark, of the three of us here, does actually look like the filmmaker, even though he's got a proper job.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not actually, unlike JM, I'm not trained in any of this. I've just gone along and made some mistakes and tried to learn.
So what was the first bit of kit you bought?
Right, well,
after beginning just with a mobile phone?
Well, a microphone, because I've quickly realised one of the first car review I ever did was on one of the Fiat 500s that we had at the time. And the video weren't terrible, but there was a part early on in the video where you couldn't hear me.
Right.
And you've got to get the audio right. So the first thing I did is bought a microphone, and I had compatibility issues with that and the phone. So then I started looking at cameras. I had an old GoPro, but that didn't really solve that problem. So one of the first things after that I bought was like an SLR style camera, because it was cheaper than a proper video camera, because they're seem to be more professional ones now anyway. I don't think people really buy camcorders, do they, these days?
Oh,
I suppose not.
I forgot about that word.
So yeah.
What do people use? Do they use DSLRs then for their filming?
I think some do, but it does obviously make it a bit more cumbersome. And I mean, there are some very big channels, I'm talking 100,000 subscriber channels, that do shoot everything on mobile phones. And modern phones are...
Matt Armstrong, I think, still uses a mobile phone.
Yeah. I mean, it can be quite good, and I know some use a gimbal with it.
Hubnut still does some bits on a mobile phone, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that and action cameras and
Well, the thing is,
a gimbal smooths out the footage, and they use. I think they use the same sort of microphones as I use.
What mics do you use now?
Well,
Let me guess. Rode.
Yes, predominant. But I use a Rode Wireless Go 2. But quite often I'll have a lavalier mic clipped into that, and I bought a Boya, which seem to be decent enough. A lot of people use them, but they're a fraction of the price of the Rode.
Okay.
So I use one of their lavalier mics, and on one of my cameras I use like a mini shotgun mic, the same brand, which for about 30 quid. But the thing is, it's learning the craft with what you've got. You know, it's all right. People go out and buy all the gear. I mean, my gear is nowhere near as flashy as what someone like JM's got, and I know for a fact that the mounts I use he doesn't like. But then this is someone who's been around professional equipment. The stuff I use is probably very low end by comparison. But at the end of the day, it's no good having all the kit if you've got to make some mistakes and learn what does and doesn't work first. And if that means shooting on a mobile phone, you know, you've got it in your pocket, it's there all the time. Just get it out, take the phone out and shoot something with it, use it.
When it comes to the actual presenting, do you find that difficult, or has it begun to come naturally, or do you still struggle with it?
Still struggle. It definitely didn't come natural at first. There's a lot of ums and pauses where I'm thinking, and when I shoot a car review, quite often I'll do a few takes of a particular line because I'll fluff me what I'm trying to say. That happens quite a lot.
Do you work with a script?
Not as such. I might jot down some notes as sort of little headers and bullet points, bits of information, and then I just try and let it flow and go from there. I have sometimes storyboarded.
What does that mean?
So on a car review, I might, in particular, I've sometimes done them where I've had an idea of the route I want to use. And same when I did the unveiling of my daily car, that was all storyboarded. So it's sort of not as detailed as a script. It's a bit like a comic strip, you know, where you get the pictures and you've got the little boxes and there's something happening.
Okay.
And it's kind of put in together. So you're saying in this.
Stop touching my leg.
I'm so cold that I'm just twitching all over. I mean, to explain, it is terrifyingly cold in this caravan. The heating has failed, and I mean, it's about -2 outside, and I think it's about -5 in here.
I can't feel my toes anymore.
I've lost, that's why I'm twitching my legs. I've got no feeling in my feet. My hands are freezing. Oh, and I'm just glad to admit it and get it out there, because I'm fed up of trying to pretend to be brave. I'm just going to burst into tears.
Yeah, you did nearly gas us with that heater you were trying to get going before we started as well.
Yeah.
Just to get some heat. But yeah, I started off with this idea of storyboarding it to try and set out the order of what I wanted things to appear in the video.
So you don't miss the bits that you want.
Yeah, you've got to have some idea where you're going with it.
Do you?
But it helps. It can help. But
I asked Mark about whether he was bringing along his yellow Renault, because I thought we could do like a swap review.
Right.
And obviously he hasn't done. But I said to him, sorry, you can still do mine if you want, but you want to be prepared. You actually want to look into the car
I tend
first.
to overthink everything, sometimes to my own detriment, because then things don't get done.
Well, that is.
So do you find the idea of all of this in some way offensive then, that, you know, that there would be absolutely zero planning, that it's being filmed incredibly amateurishly on
But
a...
it works for you.
That's such a diplomatic answer, isn't it?
It isn't.
Yeah.
In other words, yes,
But-
I find it incredibly offensive.
You really cut that one short. Well done.
The thing is that, like I said, to anybody who's maybe been watching and thinking about having a go at it, just do it. It's, you know, it doesn't matter if it's amateurish. It's YouTube. It's intended for. I know YouTube has become very commercial now, and you've got you know, TV stars, actual famous professionals who are now doing YouTube.
But and even its name, YouTube,
Yeah,
it tells you that it's for you.
It's for you.
doing it.
yeah, exactly. You know, and you know, put some videos out, but just don't be disillusioned. If I remember putting some of my first videos, and you know, struggling to get into double digits on views, And you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? Why is nobody? And it just takes time. At the end of the day, YouTube is a platform that makes money from advertising, and if they're going to make money from advertising, they've got to put something out that people want to watch. And as a new creator, they don't know you from Adam. They don't know what your videos are about, how successful they're going to be. So it just takes a bit of time. Obviously,
for them to help you, you've got to properly help yourself first. That's really
and I know you do get these people. You'll see these thumbnails with, how I got monetized in 1 month, and people do that. But for most people, that's just not reality, and you've got to accept that it's a very slow process, and you will feel like you're failing, but it's not. It's something that most of us go through.
I'm on record over and over again as my go-to guru in the early days was a channel called Dan's Bangers. And I enjoyed Dan's Bangers because he had no pretensions, still has no pretensions of ever being anything massive or amazing. And he did a sit down after his first year of serious YouTubing, and his target for the first year was to achieve 50 subscribers. Effectively one a week. And he did better than that. He got about 58.
Yeah.
And I found that really helpful in my early days when I went through exactly what you're talking about, that you'll put a video up and you will literally not get 10 views. You will literally get less than 10 views on it, and it becomes a bit disheartening. And I used to look at Dan's Bangers and look at that and I think, okay, so that's the way it works then. You can't expect to go out and become massively in your first year. So instead of going in thinking that, right, I should be doing this, this, this and this, I went in with that. I set myself the same goal, to get 50 subs in the first year.
Coming in fits and starts as well, doesn't it? I think it took me probably 9 months to make the first 100 subs, and then I doubled it within the few months that followed, and then it slowed down again, and it just sometimes goes that way.
What are you up to now then?
1,070 odd, I think, thereabouts. But obviously it's not just subscribers, is it? From the partner program side, it's the watch time as well.
Yeah.
And this is something else. It's about a lot more than just the number of subscribers, and it's not necessarily, you think if you've got more subscribers you'll get more people watching, but quite a lot of creators do often comment on they'll have a video and the stats will say that the majority of viewers are not actually subscribed.
Yes. Yeah.
People will drop on a video, watch it, and then they might forget about it. And
especially if you're doing car reviews.
Yeah, and then because they're looking for that particular vehicle. But then 6 months later, they might drop on your channel again, and this time they might actually stick around and might subscribe if you're lucky.
Yeah.
The way we consume media now, I mean, in the old days, you had 3 or 4 TV channels. You'd sit and put a film on, and it might be a bit naff for the first 10 minutes, but you'd give it another 5 and see how it went. Whereas now, if the people don't see what they want in the first 30 seconds, they'll just straight on to another.
I think TikTok's made that more like the first 7 seconds.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Because obviously YouTube...
It's doom scrolling.
Yeah.
We sit there on his phones on a night, don't you? And you're just scrolling, and you're not even really taking any of it in.
No, but that's how the attention span's got. So unless it's got your attention straight away, you're going, it only takes that.
That's why YouTube's often full of a lot of Americans shouting. You've got to admit though, Americans are they're sort of more animated than us stiff upper lip Brits, and they do make for good viewing because they're very.
Depends on whether you find it annoying or not.
Yeah, but they're generally quite natural on they're entertaining.
I like it when the fat ones are thrown to the floor.
It's like when we all tune in on Boaty's lives to watch him getting pissed on a night. And you've got presence and it's entertaining. And sometimes people just want to be entertained.
You have made use of your audience's unpredictable nature. That's what I think.
So that's an interesting way of putting it.
Well, yeah, but it's true though, isn't it? So whatever they say, either you say it, which encourages them to say it, or you don't say it and you say why you're not going to say it, which encourages them to say it.
Or there is a third way.
What's that?
I read something else out and pretend that that's what they said.
That's true, yeah.
I do that quite a lot.
I think that's what radio stations do, isn't it? You know, on the night when they have these shows and it's, oh, so-and-so's wrote in about his problems in his marriage, and it's completely fictitious, it's not real.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Well, so they couldn't find anything real that was any more interesting than
nobody
that.
phoned in, so they made something up.
Well, yeah, who's going to know?
The best story
found
about that was a rather niche little local radio station in London, and they had a late night phone in, and they started getting these really weird phone calls, and it turned out to be, they didn't know at first, took them a while to find out, it was Peter Cook when he was pissed. And he would just ring into this radio station as a different character. Hello, this is Sven from Norway. And there was some incredibly funny stuff, and they had no idea. It was Peter Cook when he was absolutely out of his tree.
Yeah.
I love the idea of that.
It reminds me of my first job. I worked in a supermarket, and on a Sunday, we used, sometimes for a laugh, we'd phone up the customer service desk, and on the internal line, we'd ask them to put calls out for people who, and the names were fictitious, but it was always things like Annette Curtin and Teresa Green.
Teresa Green. But you didn't actually go for the naughty ones then?
Such as?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't possibly think of any.
Mr. Michael Hunt.
Yeah. That's easy enough to do though, isn't it? Mike Hunt. As long as you pronounce the H in there.
Yeah.
Teresa Nipples.
Oh yeah, Teresa Nipples. I know her very well.
Aloysius Butt Plug.
Why don't you write some down? Hey, there's an idea. Why don't you write down a whole load of these, and you could exchange these for the people in your live stream. Yeah. If you don't, I will.
I think we need to kind of wind this up for no other reason that I need to go and sit in a warm car.
Right, okay. We're probably all in agreement with that.
Yeah, but in the viewer's disappointment, they're probably expecting somebody a bit more high profile.
What, than
Also-
you?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, there used to be an him, and we're not exactly household names, are we? In fact, I reckon that if you and I went out to a car show, you'd get recognised more than me.
Don't know. But it depends on the car show.
And he'd get recognised more than either of us.
He'd definitely get recognised more.
Yeah,
But then he does purposely dress like a camp Jesus.
Camp Jesus.
Well, you've gone all camp now.
Have
I
I?
mean, you didn't used to be camp, but since you've had the Jennifer Aniston and started conditioning and colouring your hair,
It's
Then-
Reverend Boaty and Jesus Do Lunch With.
he's definitely got. He's definitely camp now, isn't he? He's definitely a camp Jesus, and I would, quite honestly, I would approve of that. I mean, if we're talking about the second coming of Christ, and I realise I am pushing the boundaries to suggest that you are the second coming of Christ, and I think that would disappoint a lot of Christians, and a lot of Buddhists would say, well, you know, I told you so, and serves you jolly well right. But if there were to be a second coming of Christ, then I would love it if it was a modern version of Christ, and I would love it if he was a bit camp, if he was a little bit John Inman. And I think that would help improve the image of Christianity, because Christianity has very famously had an absolute down on homosexuality. I mean, I believe it says at some point in the Bible that congress of one man unto another is a sin, and you will burn in eternal damnation. So it'd be rather nice if Jesus did come back with his beautifully silky hair and camped it up a bit.
I'm still struggling with the concept of Mustard as being the new Messiah as opposed to a very naughty boy.
When we're off your camera, I'll tell you the truth, mate.
Right, well, a massive thank you to Mark for coming and not only putting up with this amateurish shit which would never in a million years make it onto his channel. And on that subject, do check out Mark on Motoring. There will be a link in the description below. You will not regret it. If you enjoy cars or a level of professionalism that you'll never see on this channel, then get yourself out there, have a look. So thank you for coming. Thank you for putting up with this. Thank you for pretending that you're in a more civilised set of surroundings than a freezing cold caravan.
A wonky caravan with mirrors on ceiling.
Well done on not getting indigestion and burping left, right and centre. Mustard, would you like to add anything?
Yes, thank you very much, Mark, for coming along and being...
Could you do it in a more Camp Jesus-like way?
Your trolloping face.
Go on, camp it up.
Oh, I don't think I could possibly camp it up any more than I really want to do.
Do a
do
a Camp Allegro man.
Oh gosh. Camp Allegro man.
No.
No, I'll do that when he comes along.
Brave of you.
Join us next time when Mustard and Boaty
Do lunch.
And it's off.
That's a take, darlings. Let's get out into the warm. It's going to be warmer outside than it is in here.